This project grew throughout the entire semester. It was absolutely wonderful. We decided we would start just with an idea at the beginning of the semester, and that was we have a state that's about to celebrate 100 years of statehood, and let's look at the state and how it's changing.
I spent 36 hours of my life doing web page coding for State of Change. I also did some TV package type stuff for the website. It turned out really good.
Mill Avenue supports 9,000 jobs, hosts 2 million visitors a year, and is an American Planning Association Great Street in America. It makes Shumway's attitude toward Mill Avenue surprising.
Does it add anything? It's a nice place, a nice draw. It has lots of activity. I don't know that I could say it adds to Tempe. Doesn't detract from it, it's just part of a big city.
It was a really interesting experience working on these packages, knowing what they were going to, doing a profile of somebody who's been an Arizonan for a long time and knowing what part it would play in this comprehensive look at Arizona history.
I was in charge of just kind of sifting through a lot of the information we had. We had so many photos, and videos, articles, everything we did, but we had to trim it down so much, and it made it really tough because some of the stuff was really good, and you really had to make judgment calls, what is better, and just so you could actually have a reasonable amount of stuff to work with.
We had one problem with one of our pages that was very video heavy, and we wanted to make it very visual appealing without being overwhelming. We had a consistent theme of a lot of text-based articles with multimedia on the side, and our solution was to deal with a lot of individual photos that our wonderful Photoshop genius, Max, had to go in and individually place in because we couldn't hotspot anything with the lightbox effect that we were trying to create consistently throughout our pages.
The amount of time basically put into each one of these visual designs that we would use, from the creative ideation process to the actual Photoshop time to finalizing and tweaking everything, probably came out to maybe 6 hours per page if I had to guess. It took about 36 hours non-stop to come up with everything.
I think the most challenging part of this project was also something that I thought was the most rewarding and the most fun too. We had to get a story that was outside of Phoenix, and I was asked to get outside the valley and do it. So I went about 2.5 hours southeast to a town called Pima to get my story. Took 2 days, an overnight trip to get it. By the time I got back, almost everything was done. And that was hard to try to teach myself. You don't really have to do everything. Just do what you're assigned to and let everybody else take care of the rest.
It was this graduate cohort working together to put this website and to make it work, and to make it work on deadline. And so in particular, this very last night was a lot of work. We actually spent a little more than 24 hours on it, and it was definitely mentally and physically challenging, but the fact that we managed to make it was really rewarding.
I had left and I came back in that morning and it was done. It was 6 a.m. and someone was crying and they're like, it's done, and I looked and I cried too because I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I had gone home for 3 hours and I came back and it was done.
The ability on the website to look at a slideshow, to look at what could be like a print newspaper story, to look at graphics, to look at maps, to look at a 30-minute television special, all there on the website shows that the students were able to harness the power of multimedia journalism to tell stories, and to tell stories that really need to be told. Stories about new Arizonans, new Americans, about ancient, wonderful Arizonans from small towns, and all the challenges that happen in between about this great state. So they not only celebrated the lives of these people of this state, they celebrated themselves.
In the Student Interactive Multimedia Competition, the Best of Festival King Foundation Award winner is Cronkite Masters Cohort 2010, Arizona State University for State of Change.